What's up? It's your girl El Rochelle here with Harwood Divas NFL Week 12 picks. I still cannot believe we are at Week 12 finally, y'all. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Once Thanksgiving comes, which is next week, that's when we just start seeing those teams that are really playoff teams start making that final push. I cannot believe this year is almost over. This is just so much craziness. But let's get started with the games. So first up, Thursday, tonight, we've got the New Orleans Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are horrible this year. Like, just not even any good. New Orleans, as always, has a really great offense. Defense is actually doing fairly well. That's what happens when you add Mr. Ryan. He's good for business if you're on the defensive side. So I'm going to, of course, go with the Saints on this one. Saints are definitely looking like the team out of the NFC this year. I'd love to see them win it again. I actually like New Orleans. I'm an NFC girl. I like the NFC. So honestly, whenever the NFC is there, whatever NFC team is there, I'm always rooting for them. Unless it's the Giants, then I just can't. Unless it's the Giants versus the Patriots, and then, well, I just have to suck it up and go for the Giants. But whatever. 2008. Flashbacks. Okay, so Sunday. So, of course, there we go. I'm going with the Saints. So, Sunday, the first slate of games are 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern games. We've got the New York Jets versus the Ravens. I'm going to say that theory about the Jets is actually their odd games, not the odd week. Because on their 10th game, which happened to be in the 11th week last week, they lost. So I'm going to go with, the problem is, it's not the odd number week. So it's the odd number game. This is their 11th game. They're going to win this one. That's my theory. I'm going with Rex. So I'm going with the Jets on this one. I'm just not seeing too much out of the Ravens to make me really excited about them winning anything. So I'm going with the Jets. Next up, we've got the Steelers versus the Browns. Steelers, yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers. I got to pick a team. So I'm going with the Steelers. Buccaneers versus the Lions. The Lions need to get this one. I think that the Buccaneers now having 2 wins, they feel pretty proud of themselves, but I just don't think that they'll be able to beat the Lions. So, going with the Lions. Vikings versus the Packers. It's a terrible quarterback battle. Packers? I guess. That's who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Packers. So, let's be real. Either of these horrible, horrible quarterbacks could win. Packers. I just don't really like Christian Ponder at all. So I'm going to go with the Packers. Jaguars versus the Texans. Now those Texans. So last week, they've been playing Case Keenum, and he'd been doing really well, except he had a bad week last week. And they took him out and put Shaw back in. I don't know why they did that. That was not a smart decision. But whatever. But they're playing the Jags this week at home, so I'll go with the Texans. Chargers versus the Chiefs. Chiefs, because it's at home. Rivers is a good quarterback, but, the fact they lost to the Dolphins last week, that says a lot about them. But I'll go with the Chiefs. Panthers versus the Dolphins. Panthers. I know some people consider that a questionable end to the Panthers versus Patriots game, but, we're doing all these letter of the law type things. That's what happened with the penalty on Ahmad Brooks in the New Orleans 49ers game last week. So, by their interpretation of this law, or this rule rather, Panthers won, and I like it because I don't like the Patriots. So, I like what I'm seeing from the Panthers. I think they're doing really, really well. They're also a very good option for an NFC team for the Super Bowl. They have a really, really good defense. I'm going to go with the Panthers in this game. Dolphins actually got a win last week. after all that was swirling around them and still is going on. It's kind of died down. You're learning more and more about Richie Incognito. I'll talk about that tomorrow in our news of the week, but I just don't think they have the skills to beat the Panthers. Has nothing to do with the stuff that's going on off the field. So going with the Panthers on that one. Bears versus the Rams. The Bears, I hope for their sake that they don't lose to the Rams. So I'm going to go with the Bears. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern games. We've got the Colts versus the Cardinals. I got Andrew Luck, so I need the Colts to do well. I do like the Cardinals DBs. They're just a 1-2 punch of awesome. They really are. And Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu, I like them. Like, they're really good. And Matthew's done a very good job of being one of those players that had some questionable stuff going on in college and actually translating well and doing very good in the league. A lot of people talk about, well, why did they still draft these people? Well, you know what? Some people can change. Some people still make mistakes, but some people can change. So I just think it was really awesome for Arizona to give them a chance, and Patrick Peterson's family kind of took Tyrann Mathieu under their wing, and he's doing really, really well. So I'm happy to see that, but I'm still going with the Colts. Titans versus the Raiders. Raiders, because the Titans are terrible, and they have to go all the way to Oakland. So I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one. Cowboys versus the Giants. Cowboys. I don't care where they play, when they play, how terrible the Cowboys may be, and how on the upswing the Giants may be. I'm going with the Cowboys because I don't like the Giants, and that's never going to change. Let's see. 5:30, our evening game. 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Broncos versus New England. I need Peyton to win this one because, as I've stated previously, I don't like the Patriots. I don't like smug Tom Brady. He's good, don't get me wrong. But I like Peyton a little better. Okay, I'm lying. A lot better. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. But honestly, I think that they are just a better overall team anyway than the Patriots. It really doesn't have to do just with my disdain for the team as a whole. I really do think that the Broncos are the better option, even though they have to go to Foxborough. I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one. Yes, Broncos. Monday, 49ers versus the Redskins. 49ers. Because watching the Redskins play makes me cry. From not sadness for them, but like sadness for me for having to be stuck there watching them play. They're no good this year. I do believe that Robert Griffin III, he doesn't get a nickname right now. He's still coming back a bit from injury. I do believe there is a lot of turmoil with this team. Folks throwing each other under the bus, quarterbacks throwing coaches, quarterbacks throwing receivers throwing quarterbacks. It's all a hot mess, and I don't believe it's going to get solved this year. I don't think Shanahan and the fam will be back next year. I do think our Robert Griffin III has the option and the opportunity to get better. He is still a young quarterback. I do think there are some things that he needs to do to get better. But again, that's another story that I actually will address tomorrow, and kind of my feelings on Robert Griffin III and some of the things that are swirling around him about humility and arrogance and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that. But for this situation, I don't think that they'll be able to beat the Niners. The Niners do have a fairly decent defense and a much better offense at this time, which is crazy to say because their offense is not great. They're not in the swing of things themselves, but I just think that they have a better option to put things together when necessary than the Redskins do. So I'm going with the 49ers. Those are my picks, my friends. So let me know what you think. Holla at your girl. Comment, all that fun stuff. I will talk to you later. Deuces.